I have the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E all-electric vehicle, and I love it. I've had the car for 2 years, and I have over 50,000 miles on my vehicle. I'm gonna be going over all the good and even the bad, and I hope that lets you decide on, is an electric vehicle, Mustang Mach-E or any EV out there, right for you? If the answer to that question is yes, stick around, because I'm gonna give you all my thoughts and all my experiences on what I've been through on the last 2 years. First things first, Ford first hit the marketplace with the Mach-E in 2021, and they have not stopped since. Its sleek design and instant torque power, smooth handling vehicle that Ford put its best efforts to provide an amazing driving experience for customers to feel like they're in a normal car, but with all the benefits of owning an EV. So let's talk about the bad. I've only got one thing to say. That is wintertime driving. The wintertime driving experience is awesome. Battery life, not awesome. And it's to be expected. Cold weather can drain that battery, and I'm not talking 30 degrees, I'm talking you get into the 19 degrees, you get into 0 degrees, you get into the negative numbers. Battery life is not good on any EV, in my opinion. So as long as you are under the understanding of that, I think you'll be fine. I think some people go in buying an EV and they get their first winter experience and they find out they can't do a lot of driving if they don't have home charging at home. That should be a must. But if they don't have home charging and they find that they're going to all the charging stations and having to wait in line because everybody's trying to charge, especially during the winter season because battery life is not lasting as long. If you have that concept and the understanding that you have to do more charging, and as long as you're okay with that, the EV experience becomes a little bit more pleasant. Right now, during the winter season, I am getting about 129 miles for an estimated range on a full battery. Now, I don't take my car out at 100% and bring it in at 0% into my garage. I did say I have home charging, so that is one benefit. But recently I've been doing a lot of driving and a little bit more driving than normal, and I was finding myself that I could not get my commute, even though I was doing 100%, I could not make it back to my garage with not stopping for a charge somewhere. With that being said, I might have been able to do that, but from where I work and to my home, I really don't have any fast charging. So in my work area, I do have a fast charger, so I'm able to go ahead and stop there. It's about like a minute or 2 minutes away from my work. So I get a little topper off at the Electrify America, and then I'm able to make sure that I get home with having battery left in my vehicle. I think everything else that I'm about ready to talk about outweighs the experience for the wintertime driving for the EVs. And if you really think about it, you only have about 2 months out of the year that it affects your battery life, especially in the climate where I live. If you do a lot of driving during the winter months, you are definitely gonna have to do more charging. If you don't do a lot of driving, this might not affect you and you might be fine, but my one recommendation would be to have at-home charging. I do a little bit more driving than normal. I do about 25,000 miles a year. I think the normal is anywhere from 10 to 12,000 miles. And with having a charger at home, when I come home at night, I plug my vehicle in and I can set my car to charge at certain times. I used to have a smart charger, but that's a different episode. But when I come home, I plug in, I can get overnight charging. When I wake up in the morning, my car is charged to 85%. And sometimes during the winter season, if I know I'm gonna be doing a little bit more, I might charge it to 100%. But my daily charging is at 85%. I get in my car the next morning and it's ready to go. If I didn't have home charging at home, I'd have to go to an Electrify America about 20 minutes away from me, have to stop there. I'd also have to see if there's any cars that are there. I'd have to wait to do charging, then have to wait to charge. So If you are looking at getting an EV, my biggest recommendation, get home charging if you're available to get it. The benefit to having at-home charging is the cost as well. So I get about 1 to 3 cents a kilowatt hour while I'm charging overnight. And where I live, I am on flexible spending, so they call it live pricing. And so during the nighttime, the prices of the electricity is real low. During the day, there's peak hours, when everybody's up at 7 a.m. or people coming home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So those are the peak hours. Try not to do any dishes, dishwasher, or laundry at that time. But I do pretty much all my charging at night when I come home from work. So my overnight charging starts at about 10 p.m. and goes till 7 o'clock in the morning. The other thing with using the Electrify Americas I have recently used, I'm only getting about 71 kilowatts per hour charging into my vehicle, which that to me is a little on the slow side. I am also in the range, because I know I'm gonna hear, but I'm in the range of anywhere from 10 to 80% your battery life. That gets you the most charging put into your vehicle. So I'm showing up at Electrify America with about 20% left battery, and I'm going ahead and plugging in, and then I should be getting anywhere from 130, maybe 150, because I'm pulling up to ones that the Electrify America charging stations that have capacity of 350 charging experience. I am not getting anywhere near that the last couple of times. So I don't know if that's something with my car or something with some of the charging stations. And some of them I was at, and I went to a different charging station and I was still getting the same amount of energy put into my vehicle. So as long as you're aware of the learning curve that you would have to do with owning an EV during the winter season, I think you'll be just fine. And again, I believe that all the benefits during the rest of the seasons, so you got spring, summer, and fall, all the rest of those seasons outweigh the one season where, like I said, battery life is not amazing. And as long as you're prepared for that and aware of it, I think you'll be just fine. Also, I do have to add with the battery life, when I'm doing my driving during the winter season, I have my car set to 68 degrees. The fan is on the 1 setting, so it's not like I'm blasting a whole bunch of heat in my vehicle to make the battery life last longer or make the battery life not last as long. So I am aware of my temperature that I'm putting in the vehicle. When I have my wife and kids, I do have to bump the temperature up a little bit, but not crazy. And I'm still getting that battery life experience of where it's not that great. I hear people driving around that don't have the heat on, and I've tried that a couple of times, but then the windows start to fog up and everything else. So I've just come to the realization that I set my car to 68, have the fan setting on 1, and I just get what kind of battery. It does get me my daily driving. So anything outside of that, I have to start kind of worrying about that. I do have a 25-mile commute each way. So I've got anywhere from 50 to 60 miles, depending on my route of driving on a daily basis. But sometimes I have to go somewhere else, and I have to go here, and I have to go there. So that's when I have to start worrying about the mileage in my EV. But on a daily basis, as long as I'm charging my car, I get the driving. And again, it's about, if I was to say and make a guess on this, I'd have about 129 miles for a full battery charge to do driving on a daily basis. Now, let's get to the positive things about owning an EV. First thing I'm gonna say, no more gas stations. I don't have to stop at a gas station anymore. I can go right by. So I'm not worried about the prices of gasoline, whether it's $3 a gallon, whether it's $3.50, $4. Everybody's kind of talking about it. I don't care if it even gets to $2.99 or $2.50. I no longer have to stop at a gas station. I love that experience, and I love how my vehicle rides. I am no longer putting $350 of gasoline in my vehicle a month. I've done the math, I know how much money I was putting in my regular car before I bought the EV, And at one time when gas was $5 a gallon, I was putting almost $800 or $900 a month in gasoline in my car, which was crazy. Again, I do a lot of driving on a monthly basis, but you take that number, 350 times the amount of miles that you're driving, and I was getting about 21 miles, and the math, trust me guys, it just works out. And my average electric bill has only gone up about $40 a month. So let's talk about the driving experience. All I can say is this thing is awesome. I love my Mach-E. It's so much fun to drive. There's instant torque on it. It's smooth driving. The thing is awesome. I love being in it. It looks sleek. It's got a lot of power to it. I have the premium edition and it's all wheel. I did not get the extended range battery. I wish I did, but it was a lot of money at that time when I bought it. But everything about driving this car, I love it. It's got a couple of driving modes. You got Whisper, you got Engaged, and you got Unbridled. Unbridled has the most acceleration and the most sportier feel driving experience. Whisper is gonna give you that driving experience for a calm, slippery conditions. And Whisper is the driving mode that I use during the winter season, just because the roads are a little bit more slick during snow, icy conditions, whatnot have you. So I do Whisper during the winter season, and then the other seasons is pretty much Unbridled, and I have a lot of fun with it. It has to be the best car I've owned so far. And I really love the way it looks. Sometimes I'm walking out to my car and I get somebody asking me, hey, what kind of car is that? Is that a Mustang? And then I have to go into the whole experience. I go, it's Ford's Mach-E. They do call it a Mustang, but I call it the Mach-E. It's the all electric. And we start talking a little bit about, how it rides and questions about, is it fun? And so some people I do open up the car door and let them see inside, but it's an eye stopper for a lot of people, and a lot of people have questions about it. Sometimes I'm letting them know about my station so that they can take a look at it, and if they have any questions or whatever, they can feel free to ask, and if I have an answer, I will definitely give it to them. The other thing about owning an EV, maintenance fees. Let's talk about it. 0. So the last couple of times I've got 50,000 miles on it, and every single time I've gone in there, it's always been at 0. The only reason why I've had to pay things on there is because I've had done like tire rotation or air filter, cabin. Those are things I can get done elsewhere. Now, I will say at 50,000, they do recommend having the brake fluid changed or serviced, and I declined that. One of the reasons I declined that is I don't use my brakes as much. I only use my braking if I have to for emergency stops, or if I didn't judge a light right, because I do what's called one pedal driving. And the one pedal driving, when I took my foot off the accelerator pedal, or gas pedal, but it's the accelerator pedal, when I'm taking my foot off, the motors in the car are actually slowing down the vehicle. And again, that is called one pedal driving on the Mach-E. I am very used to that. My wife doesn't when she drives my vehicle. She takes that off. She likes to use the brakes. She likes the feel of that, but I got very comfortable with that right away. Plus, it puts a little bit of energy back into the battery. It's not that noticeable, but if it's putting anything back in there, I'm okay with that as well. And Ford also says every 10,000 miles, they recommend that you bring your vehicle into the shop just to get it looked at and have it serviced and see if there's they do their inspection to see if there's anything wrong with the vehicle. Now let's talk about the mileage and the range that you can get in the Mach-E. During the regular seasons, spring, summer, and fall, I'm averaging about 3.5 miles a kilowatt hour. That means technically I can get 245 miles of range on my vehicle. Now I've never done a whole trip to go get that range. Again, I don't like to be pulling into my garage with 0%. So I think the most I've ever gotten was at about 12%. My wife the other day was at 8%. But I don't want to be having my vehicle down to 0%. So the average range is about 245. I'm getting that number. I take 3.5 times the 70 kilowatt battery that I have in my vehicle, and that's where I'm coming up with the estimated range. Now during the winter season, I'm getting about 2.1 miles per kilowatt hour, which that is averaging to be about 147 for estimated range. I know I'm actually getting a little less than that as well, and that all has to do with driving conditions. So if it's really colder, the wind, if my elevation to work is more uphill versus going downhill. I believe my route is actually on the way to work, I'm actually more declined on my drive, because on the way home, I find that I use more percentage of my battery, so I must be on an incline, because that's on a daily basis. And then, like I said, the wind can be a factor in that, rain can be a factor in that, snow can be a factor in that on the mileage, your estimated mileage. And this doesn't just affect the EVs, let me tell you. It also affects gasoline cars. So anybody that's getting, the average gasoline is, 24 miles to the gallon, that is the estimate. But when you are driving in conditions as far as snow, rain, your estimated range as well goes down. It's just not electric vehicles. My overall experience of owning an EV has been great. Question that might arise: I've had my vehicle for 2 years, put 50,000 miles on my car. Would I buy another one? The answer is yes. We are actually looking in probably the next 2 or 3 years, getting another EV. We will still keep a gasoline car, but my wife's next vehicle will be an EV. As long as the price is right, we gotta figure out what's going on with that. But the driving experience, our electric bill has not shot up. Like I said, it's only gone up about $30, maybe $50 during the winter months. But I would rather pay that $35, even $50, than pay $350 in gasoline a month. My only recommendation, again, if you're looking at getting an EV, I highly recommend that you are able to have at-home charging, or you have charging at your workplace, which is affordable or free. That would be awesome too as well. Or if you're not doing a lot of driving and you want to have that experience, I guess that would be okay, because you can plug these electric vehicles into a standard outlet and you can get about 3 miles to an hour. That doesn't work for me, but say somebody who just wants to drive it once a week, you can actually charge the vehicle on a daily basis and just plug it right on into a normal outlet at home, and you would get about 3 miles to the hour. I have a 220 installed in my garage, so I'm getting about 30 miles to the hour of charging. So that is a little bit different. I had to have that professionally installed in my garage. But again, I highly recommend at-home charging if you're gonna be purchasing an EV. Unless, like I said, you're not doing a lot of driving, you only drive maybe once a week, or you wanna take that vehicle out once a week and then you have your main car for driving, I would definitely recommend the at-home charging, because the infrastructure that they have for all the charging stations right now, I don't think it's ready yet. When I bought the vehicle, I didn't notice as many people charging as I am now, because the couple of times I've had to charge, I've had to wait a couple of times. One of the times it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and the Electrify America, there was 3 charging stations or 4 charger stations there, and all 4 of them were in use. And the Teslas that were right to the left of me, there was like 1 Tesla there, and there was like 6 charging stations that were open. Now, I just got Ford's Tesla adapter. I'm very excited to have that in my possession. So if that ever happens to me again, I can just go plug in to a Tesla supercharger station and be able to get a fill real quickly. I'm very excited to have that, and I can't wait to use it, especially if I'm waiting at Electrify America and there's a whole bunch of Tesla charging stations open that I can go ahead and charge at. Also, having that adapter has opened up my experience to actually taking taking my EV on a longer road trip, because right now I've been kind of hesitant on that because there aren't so many Electrify Americas or charging stations all over the place. So the Tesla charging stations have opened up more access to routes that I can go. So I'm very excited to have the adapter and can't wait to use that as well. Now, having said everything I've talked about, I love my experience with my Mach-E. And I would recommend it, but as long as you do your research and have some understanding of definitely the winter season experience, my recommendation is EV. It's a great car, love it. I'm not disappointed about my purchase. Even though I'm not gonna get my money back on the car as soon as I bought it, you know, huge drop in price, all the miles I got, the car is not worth what I bought, but that's to be expected. I plan on keeping this car, so as long as you got those kind of things, some knowledge about it, I think you'll be just fine, and I think you'll love the experience. If you have any questions, or you want to share any of your experiences, please drop them in the comment section below, and I will love to read them and respond to them if I can. Also, feel free to check out my unboxing of Ford's Tesla adapter. I'm very excited to have this, and it took me a long time to get, but I got it, so I'm good. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my page. It lets me know that my content that I'm creating is something that you like. And thanks for watching. Be safe out there, and until the next time, we will see you in the next video.